Welcome, 4 p.m. approaching, 4 minutes to 4. You know what you're here for. If you are catching up, hello, welcome. Hope you've had a good afternoon, whatever you've been up to. Hope you might have been taken out for some nice lunch or a bit of a treat. Let's hope that, especially if you're a mother. But you might have just done that anyway, because it's something nice to do. So whatever you've been up to, hope you've had a good day. Hope you're ready for a sway and stretch. That's what you're going to get here, right now. Smooth and easy. Nothing too strenuous in the sway and stretch. Stuff gets a bit more strenuous for the 12 noon, doesn't it, Mrs. Perry? You should know, you probably got more moves than we have nowadays. So yeah, just a bit of a sway routine coming your way. We've had a bit of a hodgepodge of sways this week through various busyness events that I've been up to, Bex has been up to. We've kind of been flying by the seats of our pants a little this week with the sway routine. So you've kind of just got a bit of a lot of stuff. So I hope that's been all right for you. And tomorrow, from Monday, we'll start again. We'll start a sway routine again. Same old stretches, seated or standing, options, you know what's to come. Some of you have possibly done more movement snacks than I've actually done. What do you reckon, Chris? I reckon your movement snack total must be higher than mine, because you're often doing 3 movement snacks a day. You might only get 1 or 2 from me, and they're very rare and very rare, not very occasional triple trios that I do. But you often do a double or a triple trio every day, don't you? You must know this better than we by now. Anyway, get your area set up. Find yourself a little spot in your house. Might be in the bedroom, might be in your living room, might be just perched up near a radiator. With a bit of access to external support, of course, as well. Support our standing actions and a seat for any seated options. Some of you may choose to be in seated all the way through. Some of you may do a bit of everything. Right, here comes Vivian and Paul. Good afternoon. Afternoon, Odile as well. Yep, on a double whammy. You often get one, or me or Bex, on a double dose per day now. Maddie's arrived as well. Good afternoon to you. Right, hope you're feeling okay. Hope you've had a nice day so far. 1 minute to go. Bob and I have just been looking for like holidays and flight times, ferry times, whether to drive, whether to go on a plane, what to do for Bob's 40th, because he's finally going to get there this year. Needless to say, we've looked at everything and booked nothing yet. We'll have to raid the savings to pay for all of those little jollies, won't we? Anyway, right, it's 4 o'clock now, so are we ready to get going? Here we are with 3, 2, 1. Welcome. It's the 4 p.m. It's time for the 4 p.m. I don't blame you, oh dear. We've got our wood burner stove on as well, and the curtains have been shut all day because it's pretty horrible grey and rainy out there. It's been all day. Anyway, it's Sunday the 10th of March 2024. Get the year right. Come on, let's do our circulation boosting. So if you're standing, stand as tall as you can make yourself. Trying just to get an extra bit of length through your spine, an extra inch or so out of your height. Feel like the chest is open, the spine is long, and the space is big between your ribs and your hips. Once you're there, you've got perhaps some access to external support, and you can get moving with the foot pedals. Hips, knees, ankles, feet and toes all involved there. Trying to get a good bend over the toe bones as well. If you're from seated, you can get your hips moving to start with just by a bit of hip walking, lifting and shifting, stepping the feet forwards. And if you want to do that once or twice over, it's kind of a manoeuvring seated march, isn't it? And then go back to the foot pedals perhaps before progressing into the leg march. Toes are only just coming off the floor there, and knees are perhaps only lifting up maybe a couple of inches higher than where their starting point is. Get yourself into it, find your steady pace, and then bring in other limbs. If you've got arms on your chair, just navigate your elbows around the arms of your chair, of course. And if you're in standing, do keep a hand held onto your external support if you need it. Opposite arm to leg, so a coordinated on the spot march in action. You can go for a walk up your room and round and back again if you please. And you'll start to feel the effects, just lifting a bit of body temperature, which is great for when we get to our stretches. Stretches don't like cold, unwarm muscles. They like a bit of temperature in there to get a better stretch out of it. So keep going with that. And if you want to pause, if you're ready to pause with your legs, do that, and maybe just put in a little bit of extra arm swinging. Maybe trying to just make those arm swings a bit bigger. That should do nicely. Okay. So everything that we've got in standing can be followed up in seated. So just follow the arm movements. So let's go shift and a sway side to side. And that's just from hip to hip in seated. In seated, just bring your feet maybe that little bit wider apart as well. Now let's do our figure of eights. So side to side figure of eight with one arm, with both arms, and then a side to side figure of eight with the one arm, and then the figure of eight with the other arm, single. And then just make the figure of eight standing still, just with your arms coming in, backs of your hands to each other. So we're making smaller figure of eights there. And let's get in with the low figure of eight. Make that as slow. I need to slow myself down actually. That feels better. Shifting and swaying. Try the one arm. Maybe a couple of each there. And maybe getting in with the other arm. There we are. And then stopping still. And then just turning the backs of the hands towards each other. And then opening out there. Let's just draw some figure of eights in other directions as well. If you want to bring that to an upright figure of eight, over the top, cutting through the middle and round and down. Just using this figure of eight in our sway routine. Back to the top, back to the beginning. Slow it down. I've just sped off again, haven't I? And then with the single arm at this point, if you prefer to hold your external support, of course you can do that. Does feel a little bit different when you bring that left arm in, doesn't it? Kind of feels like your arm's not quite sure what to do. Standing still, easy, soft into the knees. And then up into the figure of 8 in its upright position. And changing sides. Just turning the palm over. And let's have a go both together. Cutting a mirror image. Shoulders are relaxed. Unless you do want to reach really high into that. I'm just going to keep mine at a lower level. And there we go. There's your sway routine for today. Right, if you're in standing, let's start with a standing calf stretch. Now, depending on what you've got around you, there's a couple of options here for you. If you want, you can put your foot up against something, skirting board, door, and then you bend the knee just towards the wall. So just from the side there, you've got your toes up and your knee just bending towards whatever you're standing against, and that will get into a bit of a lower part of your calf. In seated, to get into the lower part of your calf, draw the heel back, push the heel down towards the floor. Now my heel is not quite touching down there, but I'm trying and attempting to get it down to bring a stretch just in the lower part of the calf area there. Relax there. Let's change sides. So heel back, pushing a little bit of pressure down there towards the floor, or toes up against the wall. Oh, you can't see much there, can you? Toes up against the wall and bending the knee towards the wall. That's just pulling out of the heel there into your Achilles, into the lower part of your calf area there. Now, when you're ready, in seated, let's go into that traditional calf stretch, the one that we always do. Long leg, toes pulled back. You might need to just check your position for your seated calf stretch and hamstring, back of thigh stretch. Make sure you can get your knee really straight. So this means you'll just be perching on the edge of your seat. In standing, you want to take that into a stride back. Front knee bent, back leg long and straight. If we come and lift through the posture here, you'll get a little bit of pull and length into the front of your hip of that long leg at the back as well. Bend into the front knee, try and leave the heel planted, stuck to the floor behind you. And then swap sides. So just judge how far behind you, how much of a stride you've got in here, and then lift the posture, bend into the knee on the front a little way. And you'll get that into now the belly of the muscle in your calf. Just a small bit of focus on your posture, just sitting tall rather than just losing your uprightedness there, pulling back. Now we're going to keep the leg here and go into the back of thigh stretch. So just loosen off the ankle there, point the foot away from you. If you're in standing, come and have a sit down. Again, readjust your position so that you can get your leg out long and straight. There's the lift through the posture, which lengthens out everything around the hip joint, and then lean it forwards, but feel as if you're lifting and leaning forwards rather than just rounding and curling. We're trying to get the knee, well, the hip pulling away from your knee joint, and we do that by lifting the posture and trying not to round it as we tilt. So this is from the hip. Ease into it, breathe into it. There's going to be some stretch tension that you feel. That stretch tension at times can feel a tad uncomfortable, but that's okay. Just try and find that bit of uncomfiness in the stretch. Lift up tall, let's change sides, but not bounce or jerk or force or come into any kind of painful ranges. Really pulling out the back of the knee there and up and around the hips. Some of you, if you're really lifting out your posture, you might get a little bit of a stretch in your back as well, but make sure that you're supporting yourself just on that bent knee, and that's the weight of your upper body that you're supporting there, so it's not kind of hanging out your back. Relax there. Okay, we may as well stay seated for the remainder of the stretches. So if you want, take your hands round to the back pockets, just tuck your fingertips into your back pockets if you like, tuck the elbows back or reach back and come up tall through your posture. Again, feel not only the opening of your chest and shoulders, but the lifting and lengthening of your trunk as well. So we're not stretching around kind of a flexed, slumped posture. All feels very different with your posture muscles engaged. And ease your way back out of that stretch. Okay, so in our earlier movement snack at 12 noon, we did the double arm reach. Let's make our way towards that option by just having the hand on the shoulder first. Lift the posture, then follow it up with a lift of the upper arm. You're reaching over the back of your head, talking about your head's feeling comfortable there. It's not moving into kind of any positions. Head stacked right on top of neck, and just easing the upper arm up until you feel that coming into the back of your arm. With an extra lift and a slight sideward tilt, you'll get more in the trunk, and you can go for an extra full arm reach there, just for 2 or 3 seconds. That will do nicely. We're going to put another double arm reach in a moment, so you'll get a bit of repetition there. So hand over, up through the trunk, follow that with a lift through the arm, a reach over the back. Check your head's comfortable. If anything's kind of moving, slouching, feeling forced, just readjust yourself, and that will make all the difference. Small adjustments in stretches probably doesn't look like you've done much, but the feel of it is very different. And then into a full reach when you're ready, if you're ready. Hands held together then, just for our double arm stretch. If one arm's a bit stiffer than the other in the shoulder, then use your other side to guide. Up through the trunk, reaching out of your armpits, elbows straightening best they can. And just hold that for a couple of 3 seconds and guide it back down. There we go. There we have you. Sway and stretch. Done. Oh, just trying to put my slippers on without looking. Right, I'm going to go do that again, Odile. I'm going to go right over there, just a few steps, and sit right in front of the fire like a cat. And I might not move until tea time, just like a cat. There you are, George. Nice to have you in. Hope you got the most of it. Have a lovely Sunday evening. Some of you may have a Sunday dinner planned. If you have, enjoy that. I'm very jealous if you are having a Sunday dinner. George, you might need to go back round to the beginning and meet the catcher-upperers there. Thanks, everyone. Bex and I will sort out our shifts throughout next week, and we'll be starting all again from the 8 AM tomorrow morning. Ta-ra for now.